Okay, starting the video. Okay, so for this topic, we will be discussing, we are done with objects and classes. So we will be identifying the 6 core elements of object-oriented programming, which are named abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, abstract class, and interfaces. So these 6 are what composes object-oriented programming. Okay, itong sila. So, we will be just passing through ano-ano ba tong mga to, and then later on we will dig deeper on what they do and how you incorporate them on your programs. Okay?
So let's start. So first we have abstraction. Okay? So from the word abstraction, anong naiisip ninyo? Okay? From the word abstraction, okay? What do you think is yung sabi nating abstraction? So wala. Sige, yan. So this is a programming feature that allows a programmer to hide all but the irrelevant information to the problem at hand about the object or other to reduce complexity and increase efficiency. So when we say abstraction, this is used to hide yung mga bagay na ayaw nyo nang makita, okay, na ayaw nang makita ng mga tao or ayaw na makita ng mga front-end users ninyo. Okay? Those irrelevant things or yung mga hindi na importanteng bagay, by the use of abstraction, pwede natin silang gawing, kumbaga, pwede natin silang i-hide so that di na sila makita, di na sila makita or ma-access ng mga ibang programmers na gagamit ng mga code ninyo. Okay? So, also, closely related to encapsulation and information hiding. Okay? So, yan. So, that is abstraction. So, how about encapsulation? So, encapsulation is hiding of data attributes. Okay? So, hiding of data, when say attributes, yung mga characteristics and methods within an object. So, if you want to hide, it's not really hiding. Kumbaga, it's more like uh, ginagawa nating private yung attributes and methods. Ibig sabihin, paglalagyan natin ng encapsulation, these methods and attributes can only be accessed doon sa classes na yon. Because with object-oriented, we can access different classes and different, example, let's say isang class ako, I can access an attribute and a method of a different object. Okay? Now, if you're going to use encapsulation, those methods and characteristics cannot be accessed sa mga ibang classes. The only way to access them is to access them doon sa mismong classes nila. So that is encapsulation. Kumbaga ba, from the word encapsulate, the objects or the datas can be used doon lang sa class na yun. Hindi siya pwedeng gamitin sa labas. Okay? Naka-encapsulate or naka-serado siya doon. Klaro ba? So that is encapsulation. Okay? So also encapsulation also hides the details of an object internal implementation from the users of an object. Users understand that with operations methods can be requested to the object, but in the cases they need to know that the details of how the operations is performed. So yan yung mga example. So protects an object data from corruption. Okay, so that's one of the benefits of having an encapsulation. Also protects the object data from arbitrary and unintended use. Okay, so yan, because nga you have to protect your data. Okay, so yan yung mga ibang use ni encapsulation. So hides the details of an internal implementation from users of an object. Ayan. So separates how an object behaves from how it is implemented. And then easier to modify program since one object type is modified at a okay? Uy, naku, naku, nangyari dito. Nakulangan yung ano natin. Okay, okay. So, actually here, I'm not, sorry, skip ko na lang muna to, no? Kasi medyo hindi na, ano, hindi na kulang yung, ano, lumabas na image. Okay, I don't know why, bakit kulang. Pero sige lang, okay? Skip lang muna natin to. Ayun. Ayan. Ayan. Sige. Okay. So here you have your, so as you can see, it illustrates a good visualization of class or variables, kumbaga, and methods into a single logical unit. And then the programmer will be able to simply declare a simple identifier having the ability to summon methods or change the value of variables attributes within them. For example, the user does not need to know how the name is stored internally. The user just needs to know the limitation how long the name can be. So ito, for example, okay, uh, with the use of encapsulation, as you can see here, okay, meron tayong, you have your data. Nakikita niyo yung sa gitna, you have the name, the address, the course, and the GPA. Okay? With the use of encapsulation, you can just simply use this data without knowing kung paano sila gumagana. Okay? They don't have to know kung saan or si or paano siya dinideclare or whatsoever. Okay? So, pag sinabi natin change address, papalitan niya lang kagad yung address, change name, papalitan niya lang ng name. Hindi niya na kailangang hingiin yung mga ibang unnecessary details. For example, ito nga, pag sinabi nating change name, kukunin niya lang dito is si name. Hindi niya na kukunin yung address, course, and GPA. Kasi pag ibibigay niya pa yung course, kasi if you're just going to change the name, di ba, ang data lang nakakailanganin natin dito is si name. So, it is irrelevant na isama pa natin yung address, course, and GPA kasi name lang naman yung gusto niyang palitan. Okay? So, ang ibibigay lang sa kanya ngayon is si name, which also how the rest works. Klaro? Klaro ba pag encapsulation? Kung ano lang, with encapsulation, hindi mo siya basta-basta ma-access. Kung ano lang yung gusto mong gamitin na data, yun lang ang ibibigay sa'yo. Okay? Gets ba tayo doon? Klaro? Guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sige. Okay? So, inheritance is the process by which objects can acquire inherit properties from the objects of the other class, objects of another class. Ibig sabihin, okay? So, inheritance is when you create a class, you are an object, you automatically you can use the methods and attributes from that class kung saan kayo nanggaling. But with the use of inheritance, this will allow you to use the attributes and methods from a different class na hindi nanggaling yung ano, hindi which is from a different class na di galing yung hindi ninyo parang hindi saan galing yung object. Okay? Kumbaga, you have this parent class, yung parent yung class ninyo, you are the object, but with the use of inheritance, you can have the methods and attributes from a different class na hindi related sa inyo. Claro? That is inheritance. Okay? And then, provides reusability like adding additional features to an existing class without modifying it. Okay? Ibig sabihin, kanina nga sabi ko, for example, you from your, for example, your class is your parent, you are able to inherit the attributes and the methods. But that doesn't limit you to that attribute and methods. Okay? So, what if meron kayong unique talent na hindi ninyo na-inherit sa parents ninyo? That is also possible here. Okay? So, with the use of inheritance, you can add additional attributes and methods doon sa object ninyo without editing doon sa class mismo. Klaro? Nagets ba yung inheritance?
Yes, sir.
Klaro?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Nagets? Okay, sige. So, also, so ito, a car class defines everything common to all cars. For example, a convertible subclass may then be defined from the car class. A convertible then inherits properties from a car class. So ito. Okay. So we have meron tayong car class, okay? And then meron tayo ngayon when we have an attribute na tinatawag natin convertible. Okay? A convertible subclass may then be defined from the car class. Okay? So, meron tayong convertible na subclass. Okay? It is not a class, it is just a subclass. Okay? But then, this convertible cannot be applied to all cars. Klaro, hindi lahat ng kotse pwedeng maging convertible. Only selected cars can be convertible. So with the use of inheritance, you can check if this object can have this type of attribute. Klaro? So when you say gumawa ng subclass for car as convertible. But it doesn't mean na lahat ng magiging object ni class is magiging convertible na lahat. Depende pa ngayon kung sino lang yung pwede nating ilagay na magiging na merong attribute na convertible. Klaro hindi?
Klaro lang, sir.
Klaro. Okay? So, to make in layman's term, okay? Okay? In layman's term, okay? Sige, let's say parents is ano, matatalino. Both parents is hindi. Okay. Ah, both parents is matalino. Now, we will have a subclass of genius. Siyempre, both parents is matalino. So, there is a chance na magkakaroon tayo ng genius na subclass. So, if you're going to create an object, it doesn't mean na kung ano magiging object ng parents niyo na that is both smart, lahat yon magiging genius na lahat. Diba? There are only exceptions na there is a small chance or malamang isa doon sa 10 anak ng parent na matatalino, isa doon magiging genius. So, only one of those objects can have that, but not all can have that. Klaro? That is also inheritance. Pwede ninyong i-select, ito lang siya ang magiging genius, yung iba, standard lang. Klaro? That is inheritance. Pwede natin gawin yun with inheritance. Nagets ba?
Yes, sir. Yes, po, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sige. Very good. Okay, so this is a convertible. Okay, balik tayo sa convertible. This is a convertible is a type of a car that can do everything plain car does. Does, however, has an added mechanism. So, pwede niyang gawin lahat ng pwedeng gawin ng mga parents, pero meron siyang exception na siya lang meron pero wala sa mga ibang siblings and wala doon sa klaro, naintindihan na ang inheritance? Okay.
Ano po, sir? Nayapi po,
Sige.
sir.
Ako. Okay. So, yan. So, we have the, oops. Ayan, inheritance. So, you have get ID, you have get name, set ID, set name. And then you have your name, and student ID. Okay? So, again, with this, so pwede nyo makuha yung student name, yung ID, and etc. So, for example, if your parent has the get ID and get name, so malamang if you're going to inherit that, magagamit nyo din yung get ID and get name. Okay, so that is inheritance. Okay, so wait lang muna, BRB lang, may kakausapin lang ako.
Sige po, sir.
Okay, sige, I'm back. Okay, so that is inheritance. So let's move on to, polymorphism. Okay, polymorphism is the ability to process objects differently depending on their data type or class. Okay, kumbaga para bang sa Dota, si morphling. Okay, morphling, from the word morph, it can change its form to whatever you want. Okay, so it has the ability to process object differently. Okay, so requests for an operations can be made without knowing which specific method should be invoked. Okay, so you can have a request and then have it kung saan a specific method can be used differently. Okay, so for example, this one. Okay, so you have an application form and then you have student is registered. This is now going to be for student and then for car. So take note, you have application form and then sa dalawang tao mo siya ngayon gagamitin. Okay, not just para sa isa. Okay, parang meron kang isang method and then this method will be now divided into two different things. This is one is to be used for student, this one is going to use for car. And then syempre magbabago din yung mga methods and attributes nila ngayon. Okay, that is polymorphism. Okay, klaro ba yung polymorphism? Na-gets?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, sige. So, let's go to abstract classes naman tayo ngayon. So, classes that are not used to create objects. Okay? So, not all classes can create object. Okay? So, abstract class, hindi natin ginagamitan or di natin ginagamit yung abstract class para gumawa ng object. Kumbaga, ito yung mga type ng classes na baog. Okay? Di nakakagawa ng objects niya. So, designed to act as a base class to be inherited by the other class. Okay? Yan. So this is designed to act as a base class. So hindi siya makakagawa ng class, pero pwede siyang i-inherit ng ibang class. Okay? From the word itself, ibig sabihin, di siya nakakaiba. Gets? Klaro tayo dito? So, design concept in program development and provides a base upon which other classes are built. Sige. And then, can only specify members that should be implemented by all inheriting classes. So, it can also specify sino lang yung pwede mag-inherit sa kanya. Kumbaga, let's say, yun na nga, from parent niyo, okay? Sa parents niyo, pwede nyo ilagay doon, the only classes or the only classes na pwede mag-inherit are yung mga relatives lang. Pag hindi relatives, hindi pwede mag-inherit. Okay? Parang ganun yung ginagawa ni abstract class. Okay? But later, again, since this is an abstract class, when creating that, para maging abstract siya. Okay? Just take note that if it is an abstract class, you cannot create an object for that one. But you can specify sino lang yung mga pwede mag-inherit sa kanya. Okay? Question so far with abstract class? May tanong ba?
None, sir.
Okay,
None po,
sige.
sir.
Okay, lastly, interface. Okay, so this is used to create definition for component interaction. So provides another way of implementing polymorphism. And then specify methods that a component must implement without actually specifying how the method is implemented. Then specify what methods them. So that is interfaces. So okay, so actually for interfaces, what ang ginagawa there is really not that much when it comes to interface. Okay, so interfaces allows you to create definitions of uh, so ang nangyayari din so ang parang ano siya, with the use of interfaces, it allows you to create standards. Okay? When we say standard, this is the proper way how to create it. Okay? So if you're going an interface into a method, okay, you are now setting on how this method should be used or ano yung mga kailangan. Kumbaga, if you're going to have a car, magkakaroon ka ng car, pwede ka ngayon maglagay ng mga standard sa kanya. Okay? Kung magkakaroon ka ng kotse, dapat may panggas ka. Dapat may lisensya ka. Dapat gwapo ka. Ganyan. Okay? So, you have to meet all these standards for you to be able to use this method or class. That is interfaces. Kumbaga, naglalagay tayo ng requirements para magamit yung mga class and methods na to. Klaro? Nagigets ba?
Yes, sir.
Question so far? Klaro ba tayo?
Apa, sir? Yes.
Okay? Nagets ba? Sure? Nagets? Sige lang. If ano man, we'll still have next meeting. Okay? After this one, kukontinue pa rin tayo. Okay? Ano to?